Tonight, discontent boils over as a controversial trots track gets a go-ahead. Solemn Remembrance Day scenes as the region pauses to honour those who fell. One of our most spectacular gardens thrown open for a good cause.
And it'll remain unsettled tomorrow, but will the sunshine return in time for the weekend? Details shortly.
This is Prime7 News at 6 with Freya Cole.
Good evening. There were angry scenes this afternoon when a planning panel approved a controversial harness racing track for North Wagga. The $6.5 million track will be built as early as next year, but the decision met a heated reaction from opponents. In breaking news tonight, a Catholic priest who's also a police chaplain has been arrested at Narandra over a historic sexual offence against a child. It's alleged the 49-year-old assaulted a 10-year-old girl in 2002 and 2003. The family of a woman who died in a creek at Miranda in 2011 has told an inquest she was an extroverted and happy person full of energy. Lauren Mara has the details.
Freya, in a statement, the family of Anna Shoshran said losing a daughter was the most terrible experiences a parent could go through. Ms Shoshran had visited Sweden shortly before her death and told them she'd planned to move back there with her son. Her last words to her family, "We will soon be back." The court heard evidence from forensic pathologist Stephen Wills, who told the court Ms Shoshran had bruising to parts of her body, which could have come from a struggle, but couldn't rule out the bruises weren't from the water. Psychiatrist Dr Matthew Large told the court her husband, Sean Hancock, suffered two conditions, substance abuse and mild schizophrenia. Mr Hancock told police his wife had suffered an epileptic fit on the day of her death and he left her on the riverbank to go get help. But when he returned, she was missing. The findings will be handed down on Friday.
Lauren Mara there with that update from the Wagga newsroom. Local members of the Stolen Generation want compensation. A parliamentary inquiry is underway to hear their stories of being taken from their families. Wiradjuri elders say the effects are still being felt.
The council says it's also issued a small number of penalty notices and campers are willing to move on. Ashley Gleeson, Prime7 News.
It's time to check today's weather around the Riverina and Southwest Slopes. Maddie has the details. Maddie.
Thanks, Freya. It was a fairly grey and overcast day around our region today, and we can expect plenty more of that as we head through the next couple of days. Now, we didn't see any rain recorded for most centres today between 9 and 3. However, Talbingo picked up 16.5 millimetres of rain between 9 and 3 p.m. this afternoon. Junee hit 23 degrees today, Batlow 22. Speaking of Talbingo, 24 degrees today. It was a very warm night over in Narandra, only dipping down to 18 degrees. West Wyalong 27 today, and Young made it to 23 after a low of 15 degrees last night. Over to the dam levels now, and Wangler Dam is sitting at 58% and Burrinjuck is at 70%. Just how much rain can we expect over the next 2 days? Your forecast is coming up after sport, Freya.
Thanks, Maddie. Also coming up in the local news, meet the Chico Rollers out to prove a point for their hometown. And blooming beautiful, we take a tour of one of the region's best gardens.
And at 6:30, a young surfer in a coma and a beach closed after a shark attack at Ballina. The Royals joined thousands in Canberra, pausing to mark Remembrance Day. And the fiery plane crash that's killed all 9 people on board in the United States. All those stories and more. Join us live at 6:30.
Our politicians in Canberra are often criticised for being out of touch with the land. That's why they organised a farmers market where produce from your area made the trip to Capitol Hill. Absolutely stunning. Well, sports on the way next as the Cooter Bulldogs land their new coach at last and young rugby fans brushing up their skills. Struggling Group 9 club Cootamundra Bulldogs has turned things around with a new coach, Leeton local Hayden Crockett.
Last month, Cootamundra didn't know if they'd field a first-grade side in 2016. Now, after their second general meeting, things are looking up. Lauren Markham, Prime7 News.
Either footy season isn't over for local kids or pre-season's already started. The cloudy weather kept some of the kids inside this afternoon, but these guys were out and amongst it, brushing up on their rugby skills. They'll be at it for 4 weeks as part of Southern Inland Rugby's Under-10s introduction program.
Got him. Go back to the middle.
And that's all in sport for now. Ahead, a chance of showers. Maddie has a forecast in just a moment.
Hello once again, lovely to see you. There is a very good chance that we will see decent rain and storm activity as we push through the next 24 hours. In fact, between now and this time tomorrow night, we could see anywhere between 10 and 30 or even 40 millimetres of rain in some centres. And it's all thanks to this trough that's moving across New South Wales. By the time we hit the weekend, that low will move off and we do have a high that's going to zoom in, which will leave us with mostly fine conditions for our Saturday and Sunday. As we head through tomorrow, though, it's a very different story. There is a good chance that we will see storms developing. Wagga a top of 26 degrees. West Wyalong remaining quite warm at 30. Griffith 30 and Narrandera at 29. Again, we are expecting to see a really warm night tonight. Over into Griffith, a low of 19 degrees overnight. Tumut only dropping down to 14 with a top temp of 25 tomorrow. Now, what you're looking at here is the expected rainfall over the next 4 days. And as you can see, most of New South Wales is expecting to see rain. However, most of the state isn't expecting to see more than 10 millimetres of rain as we head towards the weekend. Let's take a look though at what's happening on the forecast for our Saturday. Speaking of the weekend, should be fine in Wagga, West Wyalong, Griffith. In fact, it is going to be fine just about everywhere. That rain should fall a little further north. Cootamundra, bit of cloud around and 25. Sunrise tomorrow morning is at 4 minutes to 6. And quickly to the forecast now for Sunday, warming up to 26 degrees in Wagga on Sunday. We could see a little bit of rain around on Tuesday, but for the most part, it should be fine as we start the working week. Freya?
Thanks, Maddie. Well, that's the local news for now, but stay with us. Today's national and international news is up next with Daniel Gibson.